The Americans and its ironic tale and resolve. I've watched the FX TV show The Americans many times. I get a lot out of it. I look at the producers' angles because one of them worked in the CIA and understood the politics and undertones of the real world, not our fake American culture world of what we believe the world is really like. The Americans is a fictional tale, but it's a real-world illustration of what goes on, and that people actually die due to ideology, and people are willing to kill for ideology in this country. What are the justifications for killing someone? Self-defense and in war. But there is a third justification for killing someone, for the cause of the ideology. This is what the Americans wishes to illustrate, this growing justification for killing. They chose to have the woman be the aggressor. The male character was on a journey to understand his mental connections between right and wrong. The brainwashing was coming to the surface for him, but not for his wife, who was the stoic and determined the ends justified the means mindset. She was lost, filled with blood on her hands and brains on her face, while her daughter stared her down, then making it more of a point that her daughter didn't follow orders more important than the fact that brains were all over her own face. What I liked most about the Americans was the implosion of the infrastructure. They understood to make an effective story like this, they needed to be a house of cards type of resolve that needed to happen slowly and methodically. People eventually pay attention to what evil you are doing. People eventually start to care about what evil you are doing. People eventually catch you at what evil you are doing. The most ironic points of being caught was the big lie. The daughter put it together that an intern who was in her casual circle of acquaintances slept with an older woman who had him do something he had no idea why he was doing it, which was placing a recording device in a room at the State Department. The showdown was ready, woman versus woman. This wasn't about a daughter submitting anymore. This was about a female asking another female if she did it. It was one of those more pertinent scenes in all 7 seasons because the competition was fair. Nobody could shut the other one down out of authority. This was about getting to the truth, and the liar couldn't weasel their way out of it. Sometimes we have to do things. Sex is not a big deal. We had it harder than you. The excuses came out, but no reason. So the daughter took control and called her mother nothing but a whore. A whore. You have sex to get what you want. You're a whore. The beauty of these moments is truth. Just a simple line defining a character's deeds, but it goes a step further. It allows the actor, in this case Kerry Russell, to examine and feel what it means to live your whole life in ideology, pompously justifying everything you do, figuring out ways to not get caught, thinking you are doing it for the greater good, but then your daughter calls you a filthy whore. Which is it? The reaction Kerry provides for her character admits all the reasons why you watch the show. When you take someone and you put them against the wall with no way out except through the truth, you find an element of life that is relatable for everyone. However, the mother was not convinced that she needed to change her ways. What changed her? Knowing that the people she was reporting to were trying to overthrow the current leader. This convinced her she was following the wrong people, and her resolve eventually was put in place as they had to go on the run with the FBI on their tail. This was a diversion for the producers to actually get into her head and deal with it. They decided it was best to leave this mother of 2 in the judgment of the audience. She needed a new show to delve into all her brainwashing and deprogramming. It was the only issue that was skipped. However, in the end, the mother still had a fantasy of being pregnant with her black agent's child while smoking some dope. She woke up from her dream on the way back to Russia. You decide why this was illustrated. I found more nuances throughout the series of the female character disrespecting her husband because his methods were different than hers. His decisions and thought process were different than hers, and her priorities were different than hers. The last one was subtle. The context was about what they would have done if they weren't murderers. She mentioned how she would be working in some factory, probably managing the factory to boost her ego. Then she mentioned what he would have been doing. Silence. She didn't give a description because she saw him as weak. It was an example of the contemporary disrespect because she still honestly believes that killing and lying was all okay because it was for the greater good. She wasn't connecting the dots like her husband was trying to do, while he was chopping off hands and the head of an agent so they couldn't be identified. The ironic part of the show was the implication that Russia was financing their small travel business because there would be no way they could run a business and be murderous spies. Evidently, though, this was not the case. The FBI agent couldn't find their business in his computer, yet the business was running. A little bit unbelievable, but not truly relevant to the story. But the real irony to the Americans was a story about two people supporting their family through the free enterprise system known as capitalism, while simultaneously murdering people for the cause. The father was carrying his McDonald's bags away while looking at an American family enjoying their meal at a typical bench-style setting inside the restaurant. In the end, the daughter made the adult rational decision. You leave behind the toxic people in your life and secretly got off the train leading them to Russia. There sat two murderers on the train, so proud that they didn't get caught, with the marshals staring them down with their IDs in hand, yet doing nothing because they were Canadian. Two murderers sat side by side, and the only thing they had left was their family. But their family didn't want them. Life is consequences. The producers understood this. So, in the end, what were these two people exactly? Useful idiots.